Hello, and welcome to 20 Minutes with Jesus. Take a slow breath. Let your heart be open today. Sometimes God doesn't change what's around us because He's working within us. Let's begin. There are seasons when you pray for change, but the situation remains the same. You ask God to move, to open doors, to shift circumstances, and yet everything around you looks unchanged. At first, this can feel frustrating. You wonder why God seems silent, slow, or distant. But often, something important is happening. While circumstances remain still, the heart begins to change. God does not always begin His work on the outside. Sometimes, His first priority is transformation within. He knows that changing the situation without changing the heart can leave deeper issues untouched. So He works where it matters most. This kind of season can feel confusing. You expected progress to look external. You expected answers to come through change. Instead, you notice yourself thinking differently, responding differently, trusting differently. God is shaping you. When circumstances don't change, God often refines perspective. He teaches the heart how to see differently. You begin to notice growth in patience, discernment, humility, and trust. These changes are quiet, but they are significant. God is not ignoring your prayers. He is answering them in a deeper way. Transformation within prepares you for what comes next. God knows that future seasons may require strength, maturity, and wisdom that can only be formed internally. If circumstances change too quickly, the heart might not be ready to carry what follows. This internal work can feel slow. There is no dramatic shift to point to, no visible breakthrough to celebrate, just a growing awareness that you are not the same. And that matters. God values who you are becoming more than how quickly things change. He is not in a hurry to fix everything externally if the heart still needs formation. His timing is protective, not neglectful. These seasons also teach surrender. You learn that you cannot control outcomes. You learn how to trust without immediate results. You learn how to remain faithful even when prayers seem unanswered. This surrender is not weakness. It is strength being formed. God often allows circumstances to remain, so the heart can learn how to rely on Him without conditions. Trust deepens when it is not tied to outcomes. Faith matures when it remains steady, even when life feels unchanged. If today you feel discouraged because nothing around you seems to be shifting, pause and look inward. God may be doing something significant within you. Something that will matter far more than a quick change ever could. As this episode begins, allow yourself to be open to that possibility. God is not absent. He is attentive, and even if circumstances look the same, you are not. Something is changing, and God is leading you through it. God is deeply intentional in the order of His work. When we ask Him to change our circumstances, we often expect Him to move outwardly first, to fix, remove, open, or resolve. But God, in His wisdom, frequently begins within. He knows that changing the situation without preparing the heart can leave us unready for what follows. God's priority is formation, not speed. Circumstances are temporary, but the heart carries lasting influence. If God were to shift everything around you without shaping what is within you, the same struggles could return in a different form. So He works patiently, ensuring that the foundation is strong before allowing visible change. This process often feels uncomfortable. You pray for relief, but instead you notice growth. You ask for answers, but instead you gain clarity of character. You seek movement, but instead you are being refined. God is not delaying, He is preparing. God works on the heart first, because the heart determines how you will carry future blessings, responsibilities, and challenges. He knows what lies ahead, even when you do not. What feels like delay is often protection. Internal change equips you to respond wisely. When God changes your heart, your reactions shift, your patience deepens, your trust becomes steadier, your discernment sharpens. These changes may not feel dramatic, but they are essential. God also works on the heart to deepen dependence. If circumstances changed immediately, it would be easy to trust the outcome rather than the one who provided it. By allowing situations to remain, God teaches the heart how to rely on Him without conditions. Faith becomes relational rather than transactional. This kind of trust is mature. It does not depend on improvement. It does not demand resolution. It remains steady even when answers feel distant. God knows that faith anchored in outcomes is fragile. Faith anchored in relationship is resilient. Another reason God works internally first is to realign desire. Sometimes what we want changed is not the real issue. God gently exposes deeper needs: insecurity, fear, control, or misplaced expectations. By working on the heart, He addresses the root rather than the symptom. This requires humility. You begin to see that transformation is not always about external relief. It is about inner healing. God's work may challenge assumptions, soften resistance, and reshape priorities. God also forms endurance through internal work. Endurance is not developed in moments of quick resolution. It grows when the heart learns how to remain faithful without immediate reward. This endurance strengthens faith and prepares the soul for seasons that will require perseverance. Internal change also reshapes perspective. What once felt unbearable may begin to feel manageable. What once felt urgent may begin to feel surrendered. What once felt controlling may begin to feel entrusted to God. These shifts are not small. They reflect deep transformation. God values this process because it protects future joy. If circumstances change without internal growth, relief may be short-lived. But when the heart changes first, future seasons can be carried with wisdom, gratitude, and humility. God is not withholding good things. He is ensuring that good things will not harm you. If today you feel discouraged because nothing around you seems to be changing, consider this. God may be investing in you more deeply than you realize. The quiet work within you may be preparing you for something that requires strength, stability, and trust. God's order is intentional. He shapes the heart. He strengthens the foundation. Then He moves the circumstances. As this episode continues, allow yourself to trust this process. You do not need to rush transformation. You do not need to force change. God is working with wisdom, patience, and care. And when the time comes for circumstances to shift, you will be ready, not just to receive change, but to carry it well. There are seasons when it feels as if nothing around you is moving. Doors remain closed. Circumstances feel unchanged. Prayers seem unanswered. And yet, beneath the surface, something sacred is happening. God is not rearranging the environment. He is reshaping the heart. This is one of the most misunderstood works of God. We often measure God's faithfulness by visible change. We expect growth to look like new opportunities, resolved problems, or immediate relief. But God often measures progress by internal transformation, by who you are becoming, not by what is changing around you. God is preparing a person, not just a moment. When God chooses to work within you, He is thinking beyond the present situation. He is forming the character, discernment, and strength required for what comes next. He knows that future seasons may demand maturity you cannot yet see yourself needing. This preparation often feels slow. You notice subtle shifts rather than dramatic change. You respond differently to frustration. You pray with less urgency and more trust. You feel less reactive and more reflective. These changes may feel small, but they are signs of deep formation. God changes you before He changes the situation because you will carry yourself into every circumstance. If the heart remains unchanged, new situations can recreate old struggles. God does not want to give you a new environment while leaving old patterns untouched. He desires lasting transformation. This work requires surrender. You begin to release control over outcomes. You stop trying to force timelines. You learn how to remain faithful without needing immediate results. This surrender is not passive resignation. It is active trust. Trust that God knows what He is doing. Trust that His timing is intentional. Trust that nothing is wasted. God also reshapes identity in these seasons. When circumstances do not change, you can no longer define yourself by what you achieve, fix, or resolve. God gently removes external validation, so identity can be rooted more deeply in Him. You learn who you are apart from results. This can feel uncomfortable. Without visible success, insecurity may surface. Questions may arise. You may wonder if you are doing enough or moving forward at all. God allows these questions not to shame you, but to heal misplaced identity. Identity rooted in God is stable. It does not rise and fall with circumstances. It does not depend on progress. It does not collapse when answers are delayed. God forms this stability internally so future change does not destabilize you. Another aspect of this season is learning endurance. Endurance is not about surviving difficulty. It is about remaining faithful through it. God forms endurance by allowing situations to remain while strengthening the heart's capacity to trust. This endurance will sustain you when responsibility increases. God knows what lies ahead. He knows the weight of future opportunities. He knows the pressure of future decisions. He knows the demands of future growth. Internal transformation prepares you to carry these well. God also teaches discernment during these seasons. Without external movement, you become more aware of internal responses. You notice thoughts, motivations, and patterns that were previously hidden by activity. God brings these into the light so they can be refined. Discernment grows when the heart slows down. You learn to recognize when reactions are driven by fear or by faith. You become sensitive to peace and restraint. This discernment will guide you when circumstances eventually change. God is also forming patience. Patience is not simply waiting. It is learning how to trust without timeline. God's patience is rooted in confidence. Confidence that He is at work even when progress feels invisible. Patience protects the heart from anxiety. It allows space for growth. It prevents premature decisions. It keeps faith steady. God's internal work also heals deeper wounds. Sometimes circumstances remain because God is addressing pain beneath the request. He heals insecurity, fear, control, and disappointment that could sabotage future blessing. God is gentle, but thorough. He heals what you may not even realize needs healing. This healing does not always feel dramatic. It feels like quiet release, like softened resistance, like growing peace where tension once lived. These changes are subtle, but life-giving. God is not ignoring your prayers. He is answering them with wisdom. If today you feel discouraged because nothing around you seems to be changing, pause and consider this. God may be shaping you into someone capable of sustaining the change you desire. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. God's work within you is purposeful. He is forming strength that will last, faith that will endure, and trust that will remain steady through future seasons. Transformation within is not a delay. it is an investment. As this episode continues, allow yourself to trust this hidden work. You do not need to see immediate results to know God is present. The change within you is evidence of His faithfulness. God is shaping who you are becoming, and when the time is right, circumstances will follow. Until then, remain open, remain faithful, remain trusting. God is working deeply, intentionally, and lovingly within you. Let's pray together. God, we come before you today with honest hearts. We bring you our questions, our waiting, and our longing for change. You see the circumstances that feel unchanged, and you see the quiet work you are doing within us. Today, we choose to trust your wisdom. We confess that we often want you to move quickly, to fix, to open, to shift what is around us. But we also recognize that you know what we need more deeply than we do. Teach us to trust your process, even when it feels slow. God, help us surrender control. We release our timelines. We release our expectations. We release the pressure to understand everything. When impatience rises, calm our hearts. When discouragement whispers that nothing is happening, remind us that you are working faithfully beneath the surface. God, we ask you to continue shaping our hearts. Form patience where frustration has lived. Build trust where fear has tried to settle. Create humility where pride has hidden. If you are healing wounds we have ignored, give us grace to face them gently. If you are refining motives we did not realize needed change, give us humility to receive your correction. Let this internal work be thorough, peaceful, and rooted in love. God, strengthen our identity in you. Help us remember who we are apart from circumstances. Remind us that our value does not depend on progress or results. Anchor us in your truth when outcomes feel delayed. Teach us how to remain faithful without visible confirmation. Teach us how to pray without urgency. Teach us how to trust without conditions. God, protect our hearts from comparison. When we see others moving forward, keep us from questioning your timing. Remind us that you are working uniquely in every life. What you are forming within us matters deeply, even if it is unseen. We choose to trust you here. We trust you with what is changing slowly. We trust you with what feels unresolved. We trust you with who we are becoming. Thank you for caring more about our hearts than our comfort. Thank you for forming strength, wisdom, and maturity within us. Thank you for being patient, gentle, and faithful in this season. We place ourselves fully in your hands today. Continue your work within us. Prepare us for what comes next, and help us rest in the assurance that nothing you do is ever wasted. We trust you. Amen. As we come to the end of this episode, allow your heart to rest in a gentle truth. God is not late, and He is not overlooking your prayers. Even when circumstances remain unchanged, His work within you is intentional, careful, and deeply loving. You may still wish things would move faster. You may still hope for visible change. You may still feel the weight of waiting. God understands that. But remember this: transformation within you is not a detour. It is preparation. What God is shaping in your heart now will support what He brings into your life later. He is not only answering your prayers, He is preparing you to carry the answers well. As you step back into your day, resist the temptation to measure progress by what you can see. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it shows up as peace where anxiety once lived, patience where frustration ruled, or trust where control once dominated. These changes matter. God is forming resilience that will last. He is strengthening faith that will endure. He is anchoring your identity beyond circumstances. If nothing around you has changed yet, That does not mean nothing is happening. It means God is working deeply, shaping responses, refining motives, healing wounds, and building wisdom that cannot be rushed. You are not stuck. You are being prepared. As you continue walking with God, choose to trust the unseen work. Stay attentive to the quiet growth within you. Let faith remain steady, even when outcomes feel distant. God knows exactly when external change will be safe, timely, and sustainable. You do not need to force movement. You do not need to hurry clarity. You do not need to doubt God's care. He is present in this season. He is faithful in this process. And He is intentional with your life. If this episode encouraged your heart, continue walking closely with God, not striving for immediate results, but trusting the formation happening within you. Stay open, stay patient, stay faithful. God is shaping who you are becoming, and when the time is right, what He has formed in you will meet the change around you, strong enough to endure, wise enough to sustain, and rooted enough to remain. Until then, rest in this truth. God is working. You are growing, and nothing about this season is wasted.